Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to my channel, to my bookland, to our coffee times together, and today I have for you my May wrap-up.
It's coffee time!
Today it's Sunday, it is the 2nd of June, and for whatever reason in Germany suddenly we have extreme summer. So it is currently 32 degrees outside, which means inside we have around 60 degrees Celsius. So bear with me while I die in this video. And you know, one of the good parts of summer is to get great lighting for your videos, and the other part is that you are very hot. So thumbs up if you also live somewhere that it's extremely hot right now. Anyways, I'm here to talk to you about everything that I read in the month of May. Now, during the month of May, I was very busy and I was not getting through the books fast enough, and I got a little bit like disappointed with myself. But you know, these things are gonna happen. Some months you're not gonna have time, or you're gonna read books that are gonna slow you down a little bit, and that is okay. I did end up reading 9 different titles. 7 were regular novels, 1 was a short novel, and the other one was a graphic novel. So all in all, 9 is not a bad number or anything, but I have had better months. Alright, now let's go to the book. So I always like to start with the lowest rating and go up to the highest rating, so we always end up with a good note and a good recommendation of something that I truly loved. So let's start with the first book, and this one was a bit disappointing for me because I had high expectations for it and it ended up not delivering. The one that got only, sadly, 2 coffee mugs is Lizzie by Dawn Yes, I hope that was right. So I got this one thinking it was gonna be a horror story because it was pitched as horror, but it didn't feel like horror until the very end of the book. I've always loved true crime stories. I've always been interested in the story from Lizzie Borden, so I thought I was gonna enjoy this book. This is kind of like a modern take on the story, and the one thing that I did like is that it's a diverse book that talks about mental health and talks about female romance, but I was not so happy the way all of these things were approached. And there is also insta love at the very beginning of the book, and I didn't like that. It felt like, you know, it's Lizzie and she is working in this bed and breakfast that belongs to her dad and the stepmother, and the stepmother is very mean to her. So it feels like a kind of Cinderella story in a way, because they have her there as a slave cooking in the kitchen, but Lizzie has other dreams and she's kind of stuck in this bed and breakfast until this girl comes, and there is this insta love moment, and she's also dealing with some health issues. And I don't know, like, I did appreciate that they took a modern take on the story and brought diversity also into it, but I was not happy with the execution. I thought the whole plot lines were super messy. Like, a chapter finished and the next one started and you were a little bit lost. Like, it felt like a lot of things happened in between that you should have been told, but they were not there. I don't know, it just felt messy for me. It felt like unfinished, unpolished book, and I could not connect with the characters, so I guess that's why it didn't work out for me. I'm not saying it's like the worst book ever or anything, but the writing style, the way the story was told, the characters, I just could not relate. With 3 coffee mugs we have Resurrection High by Brell and Sullivan. This is co-written by these 2 authors, and I got this one for the Bingo-a-thon as the challenge horror. I thought this was a middle grade, but then reading it I realized it was a YA book. It is short, it's only 150 pages more or less, and I liked a lot of things about the book. It is a book based on the story of a 16-year-old in the 90s who just lost his best friend, and he's kind of trying to figure out a little bit how to move on from that. And there's a lot of bullying in this book, so a big disclaimer for heavy bullying in school. Also a stepdad, abusive stepdad, so physical assault as well. Like, there's a lot of things in this book, and it's only 150 pages, and by page 20 we had bullying and physical assault by a parent, which there is heavy topics that I think they didn't have enough time to kind of develop properly in such a short book, but there were other things that were really nice. If you like stories that are kind of like spooky, young teen tales in a cemetery, things like that, you might enjoy this one, but please make sure that you go into it knowing that, you know, there's big disclaimers for bullying and physical assault. The next one with 3 coffee mugs is another one that I read for the bingo-a-thon, and that is Baby Teeth by Soje Stage, and another one that was pitched as horror, and the cover, as for many other people, I think it was a cover by kind of reason as well, plus the name Baby Teeth, because you expect to have a tale of a really creepy evil child, and I love those kind of stories, but for me it ended up being more like a thriller family drama, and it did not really go into the horror. Maybe it's because my level of horror reading so much Stephen King, it's different, but you know, this is just my honest opinion on the book. It was a little bit dragging as well because not much was happening. It had a couple of good moments, but it didn't redeem the whole book for me. I felt it was kind of boring. So we're following the story of these couple who has a daughter, and the daughter is already 7 years old, but she still has not started talking. But they think it's not because she can't, it's because she doesn't want to. And she starts to show this kind of bad behavior when the mom is alone with her, but when the dad is around, then she's a perfect daughter. And so the dad thinks that the mom is kind of exaggerating things, and that's how we take the story. And the daughter is supposed to be really evil, or something inside of her is making her be evil. So this is kind of like the story, and it does have some diversity when it comes to portray an illness, because the mom has Crohn's disease. I'm not sure if it was approached properly, because I am not somebody that has this illness, so I cannot really tell 100%, but I do know people that have been struggling with this sickness for years, and I felt like the way it was approached, maybe it was not the best one. But like I said, I cannot judge that 100% because I am not somebody that has the illness. With 3.5, we have Encounters by Jason Wallace, and this is a book that I saw in England and I wanted and never got it, and I finally managed to get it this year, and I knew I wanted to read it. Thanks to the TBR jar, I picked the name, and I'm super happy because this book is a book that I was a little bit scared to go into. You know, those books that you're like, oh, I'm really excited about this theme, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it as much as I think, so you're kind of scared of going into the book. This one was one of them for me, because I love stories about aliens, and this is about children that had sighting of aliens, and I was like, oh my god, this is something that sounds totally down my alley. But then I thought, what if I don't like it? I don't know, I had this kind of weird feeling with it, but I ended up reading it and I really enjoyed it. I only gave it 3.5 coffee mugs because at some parts it was a little bit dragging, and it is a book where not extremely much happens, but still you're kind of enjoying to see the story and the perspective from all different kids. This story is based on real events, and some around 50 or over 50 kids in Zimbabwe claim to have seen an alien ship and some figures that look like aliens, like out of this world, and they all told the same story. So there were some journalists from the USA that went there to investigate, to talk to the children, to see you know, their explanation of what they saw that day. So I was super intrigued that it was an alien kind of encounter, and that it was based on true events, and the book is told from different perspectives from different kids. So every chapter is a different kid, and they tell you the story, where they live, how they deal with friendships, what they saw that day. So it's really interesting and mysterious, but nothing much happens. So it's more kind of like sit down, relax, and enjoy these stories without like twists and turns. And you know, if you're expecting a more action-packed book, this might not be for you. But if you love to read stories about encounters that are kind of like low-key, slow burn, then you might enjoy this one. Then we're moving to my 4 coffee mug rating, and that is You by Caroline Kepnes. And I have been aware lately that not everybody loves this book, but that is fine. I did love it. And I see the point of why people do not like this book, but I love stories about creeps, for some reason, like, I guess it's also again because of my Stephen King background, so I'm used to kind of creeps and disturbed characters. I got this book for the same reason many people did lately, because I wanted to watch the Netflix show, but I wanted to read the book first. So I got the book and I started reading it immediately, and I got super hooked in the book. I think it's because the book is being told by the perspective of Joe, and it feels like he's talking to you and telling you how his mind works, what he's thinking, and I love to hear all of these thoughts from the perspective of, you know, criminals and from creeps. You know, this is again my love for true crime coming, and it's basically the story of this guy that works in a bookstore, and this girl comes one day and she smiles at him, at Joe, and then he suddenly assumes that she's flirting with him, she wants him, and she's meant to be with him, and he develops this kind of obsessive disorder with her. And I love the fact that you can see all of his mental breakdowns and all of his different thoughts. So I would recommend this book if you like Stephen King. I think you would like this one, at least I did like this one. If you like creeps, stories about people that are a little bit disturbed and not all okay up here, this one might be for you. I'm also gonna make a video. I know it's coming super late, but I have not had time to put it all together, but I'm making a video comparing the book with the TV series. So if you want to catch up before I upload that video and you want to read the book and watch the series, go ahead, because it's probably not going to be up for the next couple of weeks. I still have to put it all together and record that video. But you know, if you're interested and you don't want to get spoiled but would like to check it out, you have now time to catch up, read the book, watch the series, and we'll see each other in that video. And now let's move to my 4.5 coffee mug rating, which I was so lucky I read 3 books that I gave 4.5. The first one I want to talk to you about is a book that was very expected by me, and I managed to read this one for the Bingo-a-thon, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McIntosh. And this book is everything, okay? If you love cute love stories with LGBT characters, there is a gay character here and a bisexual character. If you love cute hate to love relationships, if you love the hating game, you're probably gonna really enjoy this book. This book, it is an adult book, so please make sure you know this before going into it, because there is a lot of sex and a lot of cursing, so just make sure you know that you are the appropriate age to read this book. So we're following the story of Ben, who is the Prince of Wales, and we're following the story of Alex, who is the son of the first female president in the United States. And they are not the best friends. They actually do not like each other, and the press is using this to kind of start some beef between the prince and the United States. And they decide, you know, that they have to fake a friendship just to, you know, put the journalist to rest, and so that they go look for another story somewhere else. So they start to fake this friendship, and they meet at events and pretend to be besties, and then they realize they're not that bad. You know, the Alex thinks, okay, Ben is not that bad, and he realizes, am I liking him more than I thought? And so it is about a gay relationship between people that are very out in the open when it comes to press and journalists, and are always in media, and you know how to handle that, being like a prince or the first son of the United States. It was super cute, it was funny, it was steamy. There were moments that it touched you on all the feels. You might also cry with it, so I recommend this to anybody. Then I have one that totally surprised me, and that is Dumpling by Julie Murphy. I was not expecting I was gonna give this one a 4.5 rating, but I did, because it was so good. The way it was written, you were in page 1 already totally into the story, loving the character, connecting with the character. You were already like in sync, and it was funny, it was cute, it was sad at moments, and I read this and then watched the movie right away, and I fell in love with Dumpling. So Dumpling, it is a teenager that she knows she's fat, but she has no problem with that. She is a confident girl, but like all of us, she also has her other side with insecurities, and more when your own mother was a past queen from a beauty pageant, and now she still kind of helps organizing all of these beauty pageants, and she's skinny and she's obsessed with keeping skinny and helping all of these other beautiful girls. So she's always lived that in her house, and it's something she never really understood. And in this book we follow the relationship that she has with her mom, because they kind of reconnect after years of not having a proper relationship, and also how she deals with boys, dating, and all of that. And it was the cutest, and I also recommend this one to everybody. The next one with 4.5, it is a relatively new release. At the moment it came out, it came to my house and I started reading it right away, because the debut novel of this author I gave 5 stars, so I knew that her second novel I had to read as well, and that is All We Could Have Been by T. Carter. And her first novel was I Stopped Somewhere, which was heartbreaking and one of the best novels I've ever read. It touched me in all the feels, and this one, it's also really good. So we're following the story of Lex, and Lex one day was waiting for her brother to come pick her up at school, but he didn't show up. So she decided to walk home, and when she did, she found out that the police were at her house because her brother had apparently committed a brutal crime and he was taken by the police. So since then she's been trying to run away from this, and she doesn't want to be judged by everybody, and once everybody knows who she is, she feels, you know, all the looks on her. So she's kind of always changing schools to try to avoid being recognized, and she ends up moving with her aunt, and it is about her considering life, her sexuality, boyfriends. It is, you know, can you escape from your past? Should you want to escape from your past? The only thing that took away this half point for me, and I only gave it 4.5, is that I felt like the adult supervision was a little bit missing. Like I felt her aunt was never home and she was a little bit left alone with all of her feelings. But I absolutely love this book. I think her story is really touching, and if you love I Stopped Somewhere, you should definitely check this one out as well. And the one that got 5 coffee mugs is actually the graphic novel. And I kind of knew I was gonna love this, but I was not aware of how much I was gonna love this. And that is I Hate Fairyland. This was so good, okay? It is very gory, just gonna put it out there. So this is adult 100%. It is very gory, very graphic, and I absolutely love it. It's the story of this 7-year-old girl that gets dragged into fairyland, kind of like how Alice ended up in Wonderland. And once she gets to fairyland, the queen there tells her that she has to find a key to be able to go back home to her parents, to the mortal world. And the problem is she starts looking for the key, and years pass and she still hasn't found it, and she's fucking trapped in a body of a 7-year-old girl, even though she's already around 37 or something. And it is hilarious. She is very badass, and she's very she goes a little bit berserker, I would say, and I absolutely love it. If you like books with gore and black humor and things like that, this is definitely for you. And I think they stopped at volume 4 or something, so that's sad, but I'm gonna definitely keep on reading the next volumes because I loved it. So these were the 9 things that I read in the month of May. Let me know down below what you thought about the books that I read. Have you also read them yourself? And also let me know please which was your favorite book that you read in the month of May, so that I can also check that one out. And now I'm gonna go have a shower, a nice cold shower, because the weather today is impossible. My cats are just laying around wherever they can with their bellies up, praying that the sun is gonna go away because it's too hot for me and my cats. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for your support, you guys. Please remember to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and please also go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram so that we can interact a little bit more with each other. The links to those social media are in the description down below, and I hope to see you all in the next coffee time. Bye!